Bihari. Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranjaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Ishtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Sharakaya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Vishnupadaya Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Parashalini Nirvishesha Satyavadi Pashalini Stharni Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaurava Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Vachakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. The Gauri Vaishnava Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Gaura Premanand.
हरे कृष्णा। तो आज हमारे साथ एक बहुत विशेष भक्त हैं, हिज ग्रेस अमल अर्जुन प्रभु। हरे बोल। तो प्रभु जी का संक्षिप्त थोड़ा सा परिचय में दूंगा। प्रभु जी श्री श्रीमद जयपताका स्वामी महाराज के बहुत ही प्रिय शिष्यों में से एक हैं और पिछले 1 दशक से भी ज्यादा समय से कृष्ण भावनामृत का अभ्यास कर रहे हैं। और प्रोफेशनल वाइज अगर बताया जाए तो प्रभु जी ने इंडिया से सीए किया है, साथ में इंग्लैंड से भी सीए किया है और वेल्स से भी सीए किया है। लोगों को इंडिया से सीए निकालने में सालों लग जाते हैं, प्रभु ने 3 देशों से सीए किया है। और प्रभु जी सर्टिफाइड फ्रॉड एग्जामिनर हैं और वो ISO 31000 रिस्क मैनेजमेंट के ऊपर सर्टिफिकेशन होल्ड करते हैं। तो हमें घबराने की जरूरत नहीं, यहाँ फ्रॉड एग्जामिनेशन करने के लिए नहीं आए यहाँ भक्तों की सेवा करने के लिए आए हो। और प्रभु जी इतने क्वालिफाइड हैं कि अभी कुवैत में एक मल्टीनेशनल कंपनी में प्रभु जी इंटरनल ऑडिट और कंप्लायंस के डायरेक्टर हैं। और हम इस्कॉन उज्जैन में भी कई सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स में प्रभु जी अपनी मदद दे रहे हैं, विशेषकर ऑल्टर डिपार्टमेंट प्रोजेक्ट में। प्रभु जी KPMG जो बिग 4 कंपनीज हैं उसमें से कतार और बहरीन के कई सालों तक डायरेक्टर रह चुके हैं। और अभी प्रभु जी कुवैत में प्रहलाद चिल्ड्रन गुरुकुल जो है उसके प्रिंसिपल हैं और प्रचार क्षेत्र में और इसके अलावा कई सेवाओं में प्रभु जी अपना योगदान दे रहे हैं। तो उज्जैन में भी प्रभु जी काफी सेवाएं दे रहे हैं। हमारे बहुत सारे भक्त प्रभु जी की सेवाओं से बेनिफिट हुए। और विशेष बात यह है कि आज उनका कृष्णा कॉन्शियस बर्थडे है। अरे वाह! इस ग्रेस अमल अर्जुन प्रभु की हम प्रभु जी का स्वागत करते हैं। एक बार हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र बोल। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय श्रीपाद अमल अर्जुन प्रभु की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय गौर प्रेमानंदे।
Krishna, all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavas. So Prabhuji gave a very elaborate introduction, but I'm not fit for anything. Let me qualify whatever I have in my mind. So it is only because of the true love of all the Vaishnavas. Like I'm sitting in this Vyasasana, totally unqualified to talk anything about Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, or any other scripture. But it is because of the costless mercy I'm here to share whatever Prabhupada has already given us very beautifully in this divine purpose. So based on the teachings of this divine grace, Abhay Charan and the Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we shall begin our class today. Hare Krishna. So we will be covering Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, verse number 14. Suta uvacha evam nishamya Bhrigunandana sadhuvadham vaiyashaki sa bhagavan ata vishnuratam pratyarchya Krishna Charitam Kali Kalmashagnyam Vyahartum Arpata Bhagavata Pradanaha. Suta Vacha Evam Nishamya Bhrigunandana Sadhuvadam Vaiyashaki sa Bhagavan ata Vishnuratam Pratyarchya Krishna Charitam Kali Kalmashagnam Vyahartum Arpata Bhagavata Pradanaha. Somebody wants to read? Suta uvacha evam nishamya Bhrigunandana sadhuvadam vaiyasaki sa bhagavan ata vishnuratam paritaksha kalichashikam kalikalmashagnam Yahartum avarta bhagavata pradanaha. Suta uvacha evam nishamya Bhrigunandana sadhuvadam vaiyasaki sa bhagavan ata vishnuratam Kadikashya karika charitam kalikalmashagnam tum varavarta bhagavan. Somebody wants to read the synonyms? Suta uvacha evam nishamya Bhrigunandana sadhuvadam vaiyasaki sa bhagavan ata vishnuratam Pratyakshya Krishna Charitam Kali Kalmashagnam Aharta Abharta Bhagavan Pradanaha. Synonyms. Sutta Vacha. Sutta Goswami said, Evam, thus, Vishamya, hearing, Phrigunandana, O son of Phrigu dynasty Shaunaka, Sadhu Vadam, pious questions, Vaiyashaki, Sukadev Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, Sa, he, Bhagavan, the most powerful, Ata, thus, Vishnu Ratam, on to Parikshit Maharaj, who was always protected by Vishnu, Pratyachaya, offering him respectful obeisances, Krishna Charitam, topics of Lord Krishna, Kali Kalmashagnam, which diminish the troubles of this age of Kali, Vyahartum, to describe, Arabharta, began, Bhagavata Pradanaha, Sukadev Goswami, the chief among the pure devotees. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Sutta Goswami said, O son of Bhrigu, after Sukadev Goswami, the most respectable devotee, the son of Vyasadeva, heard the pious questions of Maharaj Parikshit, he thanked the king with great respect. Then he began to discourse on topics concerning Krishna, which are the remedy for all sufferings in this age of Kali. Purport. In this verse, the words Krishna Charitam Kali Kalmashagnam indicate that the activities of Lord Krishna are certainly the greatest panacea for all miseries, especially in this age of Kali. It is said that in Kali Yuga, people have short lives and they have no culture or spiritual consciousness. If anyone is at all interested in spiritual culture, he is misled by many bogus swamis and yogis who do not refer to Krishna Katha. Therefore, most people are unfortunate and disturbed by many calamities. Srila Vyasadeva prepared Srimad Bhagavatam at the request of Narada Muni in order to give relief to the suffering people of this age of Kali Kalmashagnam. The Krishna consciousness movement is seriously engaged in enlightening people through the pleasing topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. All over the world, the message of Srimad Bhagavatam Bhagavad Gita is being accepted in all spheres of life, especially in advanced educated circles. Srila Sukadev Goswami is described in this verse as Bhagavata Pradanaha, whereas Maharaj Parikshit is described as Vishnu Ratam. Both words bear the same meaning. That is, Maharaj Parikshit was a great devotee of Krishna and Sukadev Goswami was also a great saintly person and a great devotee of Krishna. Combined together to present Krishna Katha, they give great relief to the suffering humanity. Anarto Pashamam Sakshat Bhakti Yogam Atokshaje Lokasya Nyato Vidvamsha Chakre Satvata Samhitam. The material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled the Vedic literature Srimad Bhagavatam, which is in relation to the supreme truth. Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, Text 6. People in general are unaware that the message of Srimad Bhagavatam can give all of human society relief from the pangs of Kali Yuga, Kali Kalmasha Jnanam. Hare Krishna. A very beautiful verse. So first we will just talk about Krishna's appearance and then we will see what Srila Prabhupada has given us on his great transcendental purpose. So Krishna's appearance and his early activities as being a baby are very elaborately described in Canto 10 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Bhagavan's Nama Rupa, Guna and Leela, whenever we keep hearing it again and again, we don't feel bored. Why we don't feel bored? Because it is very transcendental. One full month of the year is dedicated to Lord Krishna about the Leela of him stealing butter, breaking pots, doing all the naughty activities, trying to get bound by Mother Yashoda. One full month. And every time we keep hearing it, do we feel bored? We feel so happy, right? We might have heard this pastime for maybe more than 100 times. But the 101th time we hear it, it gives us some kind of transcendental bliss. That is because the Katha, Krishna Katha is so transcendental. It is so sublime. It goes deep into our heart. So, whether the activities of Krishna as a baby or as a youth, it is actually perfect in nature and it is very complete in nature. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam. So, in all respects, Bhagavan's activities are actually complete. So, when Krishna appears, actually he chooses his parents. Do we have that choice? Does anybody sitting here in this hall, do we have a choice to choose our parents? No. Only Krishna has the choice to choose his parents because we are born out of karma. Whereas Bhagavan appears because of his Ichcha. He wants to come to this material world because he wants it. So, the parents of Krishna are whom? Prishni and Sutapa, who are actually Vasudeva and Devaki. And Bhagavan says that he comes in order to reciprocate. Ye yatamam prapatyante tam sataiva bhajameham mama vartaman vartante manushya partha sarvashaha. So depending on how we approach Lord Krishna, he actually reciprocates accordingly. If we consider Bhagavan as a supreme personality of Godhead, he will reciprocate accordingly. If we consider Krishna as an ordinary personality, he is again going to reciprocate in the same way. So it is something as to what we want, and the bhav that we show is what attracts Lord Krishna. So normally what happens in a 24-hour period? We see the sun rising, it is in the middle horizon and it sets. So what the English people have given us, whenever it's the morning, what they say? Good morning. In the afternoon, what they say? Good afternoon. And the evening, what they say? Good evening. So what do Vaishnavas say? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna for everything. So when the sun rises and the sun sets, we feel that the sun is rising and the sun is setting. But actually, sun is neither rising nor it is setting. It is the perception. So similarly, when Bhagavan actually appears in this material world, we think that he appears and he goes back to his abode, his spiritual abode. But the actual fact is, all his Leela are eternal in nature. That's why it's called as Nitya Leela. So, Krishna is actually beginningless, he is causeless, and he is source of everything. Aham sarvasya prabho, matta sarvam pravartate, iti matva bhajante mam, bhuta bhava samanvita. So, he is the origin of all the spiritual world, he is the origin of material world, and he is the origin of everything. So, here, if you see, the most important thing is, it is not really important for us to know when Krishna was born. But what is actually important for us to know? Why he is born. Right? So in chapter 4, text 7 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Yada yada hi dharmasya Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan Ji ki jai. So what Bhagavan says? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttana madharmasya tadatmanam sujamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushritam dharma samsthapanaptaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So one of the reasons why is he wants to re-establish dharma, annihilate the demons. But the acharyas give a completely different interpretation. What they say, he comes to the material world in order to give pleasure to his dear devotees. And further, Lord Krishna himself explains that what is the benefit of understanding that he appears. What is the benefit of his understanding? Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vedi tattvaha tattva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. So by understanding or trying to understand, is it possible to understand Krishna's appearance? It's not possible. The only thing that we have to understand is it is very difficult for us to understand. That is the best understanding, right? So Krishna says, if one try to understand, they need not be born in this chakra of Janma, Mrityu, Jara and Vyadhi. Are we all happy of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi? Are we young all the time? As years go by, today I am completing 50 years. And I was just sharing this with Shamala Prabhu. 50 years of, I have wasted a lot of time. So at least from now onwards, let me see with Krishna Kripa, with Vaishnava's blessing, how I can actually progress in Krishna consciousness. So Bhagavan says, once we understand this, there is no need of us to get caught in this chakra of Janma, Mrityu, Jara and Vyadhi, and we can go back to his eternal abode. So there are two essential aspects. There are so many things that we can understand and learn from Krishna's appearance. So two essential aspects that we learn from Krishna's appearance are, one is the purification aspect. So when Krishna, as we saw, Krishna chooses his parents. So when before Krishna appeared, 6 of his brothers were mercilessly killed by Kamsa. So here the Acharyas say that the womb of Mother Devaki represents actually Bhakti. So if we invite some guest to your house, we clean up the whole place, right? Even if you have kept it very dirty, when somebody comes home, at least for their sake, we try to clean up, right? So Krishna did the cleaning up. So the 6 children of Devaki actually are the sons of Marichi. So they represent the 6 anarthas. What are the 6 anarthas? Lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness and envy. So once these 6 anarthas goes away, that makes it a very nice place for Krishna to reside. So there are so many anarthas in our heart. So the minute we remove these anarthas, it becomes actually a welcoming place for Krishna to reside. So here Kamsa represents material fear. Unless and until we have the fear for the material elements, there's no way that we can actually progress in our spiritual life. If we are happy and satisfied, and we are not worried that this place is Dukalyam, Asashvatam, there is no way that we can progress. So unless and we have the fear factor in this material world, it doesn't pave way for us to progress further. So these 6 anarthas are called as unhelpful enemies. If any of the 6 anarthas are going to help us in any way, it's not going to really help us in any manner. So what we have to understand is, once the heart is clean and once the purification happens, then it becomes easy for Krishna to reside. So that is a purificatory aspect. The second aspect is the revelation aspect. How does Krishna reveal himself? Krishna reveals himself when there is desperation. What desperation we should have? That when I am going to go back to Godhead. Unless and until we are desperate for prasadam, right? Yes or no? Is there anybody here who will say that they are not desperate for prasadam? All of us are desperate for prasadam, right? And especially when we are not able to eat prasadam on time, we become very desperate. When this Prabhuji is going to complete the class, right? 9 o'clock, 9:10, 9:15, 9:20, because the stomach will start howling. Put something transcendental into it, right? So the desperation should be even when we are actually performing service to the Supreme Lord. So the first aspect is desperation. The second aspect is dedication. Sabai pumsam paradharmo yato bhaktir adokshade ahituki apratihata yayatmasu prasidati. We have to be consistent in whatever we are doing. That shows the dedication. Whether it is hot, whether it is cold, whether it is warm, we have to get up and do our sadhana bhakti. The third aspect is purification, which we just covered. And the fourth aspect is meditation. Always Krishna's smaranam should be there. We have to Krishnaize everything that we carry. So when Krishna appeared in the middle of the dead night, in his four-handed form, Vasudeva saw the very beautiful darshan. Tamatputam balakam ambujekshanam chadurpujam shankakadagidagidam srivatsalaksham kalasobi kaustubam pitambaram sandra payojasobagam maharya vaidurya kiritatusha parishvakta sagasta kundalam uddama kanchan kankanadivi virochamanam Vasudeva aikshata. So Bhagavan shows his beautiful form, his lotus eyes, his four hands which has got Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. Then he has got a very beautiful Srivatsa mark on his chest. He has a very beautiful Kaustubha gem. He is dressed in yellow color. He has a blackish body like a dense cloud, Shamsundra, and he has got very nice full-blown hair. So when he sees, he gives a darshan for Vasudeva and Devaki because they were desperate, they were completely dedicated, they were purified, and they were also contemplating and meditating about Lord Krishna. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura famously commented, don't try to see God. So what we should do? We should do our activities which should be such that Krishna gets attracted to you. Right? We can always take the darshan. We have to take the darshan of the deities. But the most important thing is whether he is attracted towards what we are doing. So we have in the rainy season, all of us carry umbrella. Yes or no? Generally, what is the color of the umbrella? Black. Suppose somebody carries a green or blue or white umbrella, it's easy for them to spot them, no? Yes or no? We should be like that. So that is how Krishna sees. How among the so many Jivatmas, how many Jivatmas are completely showing the love to him. So, Supreme Personality is actually situated in our heart, and we may all be thinking that we are all intelligent. But where does the intelligence come from? It comes from Bhagavan. Sarvasya chakam vidisannivishto arthasmriti jnanam apohanam cha vedecha sarve ahameva vedyo vedandakrit vedavideha chaham. So Bhagavan gives us that intelligence so that with that intelligence we can actually go back to him. So because we use our intelligence for so many things. As long as our intelligence is dovetailed towards the service of Bhagavan, how nicely we can do more service. Any other intelligence will temporarily help you in this material world, but that is actually not going to help us in our eternal life. So Putana knew very well that the personality who is seen as a small baby was whom? Was Krishna. Yes or no? But because of Yoga Maya, her intelligence was completely vanquished. She didn't know whom she was actually trying to kill. So just because Krishna is a small baby, or whether he's a youth, he's Nava Yavana, he's youthful, he has the same power potency. So in chapter 1 of Canto 10 of Srimad Bhagavatam describes how Kamsa, when he heard the Akashavani that the 8th child of Devaki is going to kill him, how he was feeling? He was very happy, right? Was he happy? Then what was his feeling? Sorry, he was afraid, right? Once we are born, we have to die. Is there any magic or secret in this? No, right? We have the birthday. Do we have the death day? We have the death day, but we only do not know about it. Birthday we all know. That's why we celebrate. Why we celebrate? Thinking that we are going to get younger. But do we get younger? Do we get younger or we get older? White hair starts appearing. But we want to hide it. Right? How do we hide the white hair? By appearing? Die. Those who have hair. Those who don't have hair, need not worry about it. Right? No worries at all. So here what do we see? That Kamsa was completely disturbed. So here Sukadeva Goswami actually finished describing about the dynasty of Yadu as well as the dynasties of sun and the moon. So Maharaj Parikshit, see, one of the things is the most important thing in Krishna Kathas what? We have to be very eager to hear. Hear to our ear. Ear and hear. Right? You have to be very eager. So Parikshit Maharaj is now asking, please describe about Lord Krishna's pastimes. As to what are the activities that he has performed. And he says that Krishna is so transcendental And therefore, it is very important for us to understand this, because it is actually the prime occupation for all liberated souls. That is a prime occupation. So, hearing Krishna Leela is actually the boat by which we can achieve our goal. So here, Krishna was the only worshipable deity for the Pandavas. The Pandavas depended Krishna for every single thing, right? So that was a kind of surrender they had, and they always felt that they were not independent. They were completely dependent on Krishna. So when Maharaj Parikshit was in the womb of Mother Uttara, Krishna saved him from the attack of the Brahmastra. So the connection was established even inside the birth. Similar to whom? The connection was established. Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, when he was in the womb of his mother, he was hearing the transcendental glories of whom? Lord Krishna, through Narada Muni. So for some great personalities, great Bhagavatas, they have the opportunity to hear Krishna Katha right from the time when they are in the womb of their mother. So verses number 8 to 11 from the first chapter of Canto 10 talks about the various questions that Parikshit Maharaj is asking. What are the questions? He's talking about how is Balram also the son of Devaki and Rohini? Why Lord was transferred to the house of Nanda Maharaj? Where did he live with his relatives? What did Krishna do in Vrindavan and Mathura? Why did he kill Kamsa? How many years Krishna lived with the descendants of Vrishni? How many wives did he marry? How many years did he live in Dwaraka? So these are some of the questions that we also have to keep on hearing, because end of the day, he is our master. Only when we know about the master, what can happen? We can serve him nicely, right? When we know that the master likes gulab jamun, will we prepare rasagulla? We can prepare. But our master will, if he likes gulab jamun, we give gulab jamun. So we have to know what our master likes. So our master, Krishna Mande, Jagat Guru. So we need to know what are his activities. We need to know what are his leelas. We need to know what are his pastimes for us to meditate, contemplate, and try to use them in our daily activities. So when Sukadeva Goswami began to speak about Krishna, Maharaj Parikshit, completely all his fatigue was gone, because he had only 7 days before he's going to die. If the same situation is happening for us, what will happen? Let me talk about me. What will happen? We will all try to finish off all our material activities for our relatives. But Maharaj Parikshit, such a great devotee, he only wanted to hear about Krishna Katha, and he did not take anything to eat or drink. That shows how enthusiastic he was in hearing Krishna Katha from another exalted devotee who is none other than Sukadeva Goswami. So, enthusiastic to describe Krishna, Sukadeva Goswami said, like the waters of the Ganges, descriptions of the activities of Krishna can purify the entire universe. More and more we hear about Krishna Katha, all the Jivatmas are going to get completely benefited from this. So, it is not only the speaker, the inquirer and the audience are greatly benefited from this. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, Text 14, Srila Prabhupada has given a very elaborate purport. So, in the first part of the purport, he says, Krishna Charitam Kali Kalmashatnam. It indicates that the activities of Lord Krishna are certainly the greatest panacea, cure for all the miseries, especially in the age of Kali. So, here, Krishna's activity, Krishna is not Nishkriya, he is not without activities. He did so many activities in Braj, right? And the most beautiful activity that we all celebrate or talk about during Damodar month or Kartik month is the Leela of Krishna stealing butter. So Krishna's activities, Krishna's Leela and Krishna himself are actually non-different. So as long as one is engaged in hearing the katha again and again, he remains completely aloof from the conditional. We are all in the conditional world. We are actually caught in several web of complex material activities. Right? So the only way to come out of this is to constantly hear about Krishna. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu, Bhaktische, Navalakshana. In that, first is to hear about Lord Krishna. So here, what is the most obnoxious misery of this living entity? Obnoxious means what is the most horrible misery? What is the most horrible misery? These two? Sorry? Okay. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi is one thing. But most horrible misery of a living entity is to forget our constitutional position and forget about Krishna. So a pure devotee always try to, evoke the Krishna consciousness not only for himself and also for others. So this is actually the medicine to come out of these miseries. So Prahlad Maharaja was actually an exemplary devotee of the Lord, and he had so many good qualities. So when we have these good qualities, we actually get the opportunity to hear from exalted devotees. So the next part, Srila Prabhupada says, it is said that Kali Yuga, people have short lives and they have no culture of spiritual consciousness. So Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga. In Satya Yuga, what was the average lifespan? 100,000 years. In Treta Yuga, 10,000, cut 1 0. In Dwapara Yuga, 1,000, cut 1 more 0. And in Kali Yuga, 100? Really? With all the diseases that is going on, 100 may be a rarity. If you are lucky, 60. Very lucky, 70. Very, very lucky, beyond that. But that luck is dependent on what? How much we are connected with Krishna. If you are connected with Krishna, even more than 100 years is actually a great thing to do. Otherwise, this life has got no meaning. So here, in Kali Yuga, there's actually, the life is short. It's not because of food. Today, if we see, if you walk on the roads of India, or for that matter, even in other countries, what do we see very prominent? What do we see very prominent? Food shop, Haribol. In the country from where I am living, 2 or 3 things are thing. Laundry shop, barber shop, food shop. These are very famous in every road, practically. So what does this goes to show? Everybody wants to fill their belly with whatever kachada that is available. Whatever kachada, we say, because we don't eat kachada, we eat the most transcendental prasadam, we say Haribol. They also say something else. So, if you look at the theme of what is available on the roads, everything boils down to only one thing, which is called as sense gratification. They want to gratify the senses as well. So, it is not because the food is not available. It is the type of food that we eat and how we eat. We can't keep on eating because we have to give some rest for our stomach and intestine also. That is why when we fast during Ekadasi, the next day, the Dwadasi day, how do we feel? Do we feel tired? We don't feel tired. We feel very energized. Yes or no? You're all great Mahabhaktas. You will have more experience than I do. Right? We feel very energetic because the body's composition, it gives 11-12 days rest. Every 11 or 12 days, when it gives rest, the body gets completely rejuvenated. So here, the human life, the purpose of human life is self-realization. And when we have this, when we are completely self-realized, then what happens? There's a bright possibility. Then we can actually go back to Godhead. Then Srila Prabhupada talks about the spiritual culture. If anyone is at all interested in spiritual culture, if anyone is at all interested in spiritual culture, he is misled by many bogus swamis and yogis who do not refer to Krishna Katha. Therefore, most people are unfortunate and disturbed by many calamities. So here we see that due to the bad system of education, we don't get the opportunity of becoming self-realized. We are not self-realized, but what realized we are? We are selfie realized. Right? Today, everything is selfie based. We have one mobile is there. Everybody wants to look at their picture in various angle. And we share it in all Facebook, WhatsApp, and we want so many likes. That is how our material world has become. So it is an unfortunate situation. And these gurus, the so-called gurus, they are not actually giving us the true meaning. So when we fail to understand this, what happens? Our life is not going to be pleasant. And we are actually exposed to so many calamities. Adhyatmik, Adi Baudik, Adi Devik. The problems that arise because of our mind and body, the problems that arise because of other living entities. One thing what we realize is mosquito. Mosquitoes, how big it is? How many grams is one mosquito? It's actually a fraction of a gram. But when it bites us, what happens? So our sleep is getting disturbed, right? So as insignificant as a mosquito, we get impacted. And Adi Devi, we have tsunami, we have earthquake, we have so many factors. All these things are result of one thing. When we gratify our senses, so many things. When we disturb the nature for our material wants, all these things are bound to happen. So that is the reason Krishna consciousness is actually a big blessing for all of us. It's a big blessing. So when we have this blessing, we can definitely completely control all these things. It all starts from Jihva. When we start eating prasadam, we can see a complete transformation in our body and in our thought process. So then Prabhupada goes on to say about Vyasadeva. Srila Vyasadeva prepared the Srimad Bhagavatam at the direction of Narada Muni. So here Vyasadeva is an exalted devotee. So he actually composed the Mahabharata, which has how many verses? More than 100,000 verses. Was he satisfied? He was not satisfied. Because he thought to himself, I have actually followed strict disciplinary vows. I have worshipped the Vedas. I have humbly worshipped my spiritual master. I have humbly worshipped the altar of sacrifice. I have abided by all the rules. I have written explanation to Mahabharata, but still something is missing. So because of the divine arrangement, Narada Muni came to meet whom? Vyasadeva, and asked him to write the Srimad Bhagavatam. So he said, one of the reasons why you feel incomplete is when Krishna is not glorified. When Krishna is out of our life, what happens? We are like fish out of water. The fish is happy when it is inside the water. And we have seen the bird inside the golden cage. The old lady, the famous example of Srila Prabhupada. The old lady is actually polishing the cage so beautifully. But what happens? The bird inside is saying, "Kya, kya, kya, kya." What does kya, kya, kya means? Please give me something to eat. But this lady is completely ignored it. What will happen to the bird? The bird will automatically die. So similarly, for the soul, what is important? Krishna Katha is the petrol for the soul, for us to move on. Because without the soul, can we do anything? What happens when the soul moves out of our body? We are dead. We may have hands, we may have eyes, we may have legs, but it is not going to be functional. So here, Bhagavan says in chapter 10, verse 10, Tesham satata yuktanam vachatam priti purvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yenama upayantite. So here we have to understand that we have to constantly be devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead with loving ecstasy, and He will give us the understanding to go back to Him. So here Sukadeva Goswami is described in this verse as Bhagavata Pradanaha, whereas Maharaj Parikshit is described as Vishnu Ratham. So Vishnu Ratham means on to Parikshit Maharaj, who was always protected by Vishnu. We have seen that Krishna went inside the womb of whom? Uttara, to save Parikshit from the wrath of whom? Ashwatthama. So that is the glory of Parikshit Maharaj. And Sukadeva Goswami, we all know, he is the great among the pure devotees. So when two great personalities meet, what happens? What happens? That is a explosion. Explosion of what? Explosion of Harikatha. So I can only relate this to a very practical example. And what is a practical example? What is this? Rasagulla, right? Rasagulla has got two elements, the soft element and the sweet element. So when the soft element and the sweet element mix together, what will happen? The taste is Haribol, right? We all love these Rasagullas, right? So my daughter and my son, whenever they come, they only talk about two things. They want to come to Ujjain because of two things. One is Puri and one is Rasagulla. So this is how we encourage the children to get into Krishna consciousness. So here Rasagulla is filled with sugar syrup, and when we squeeze the Rasagulla, what will come out? The sugar syrup comes out. And all sides, whichever side we bite the Rasagulla, the taste is Haribol. Right? So this is the example. When two great personalities are together, what comes out is something very extraordinary, brilliant, fantastic, outstanding. So we have to just be near them. What we have to do? Just to be near them and give only one thing. Do these great personalities want any dakshina? No. But they only want one thing. What do they want? Yes, we have to give our ear. When we give the ear, what happens? It is going to be beneficial for us. And then the last part is that material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by linking the process to devotional service. Among the 9 process of devotional service, we can choose. Like Prabhupada says, it is going to be impossible to practice all the 9, but at least we can follow one anga of devotional service in a very nice, strong way and keep that as our lifeline. What is a lifeline? Like how blood is there in our body, that should be our lifeline. One seva that we take, do it very, very nicely and very wholeheartedly. That is what Bhagavan is expecting. They say, no, what's that, Prabhuji? Master of none. What's that called? Jack of all trades, master of none. We don't want to be master of none. We want to be a master of our master. Master service to satisfy our spiritual master and the master of all masters. So Saunak Rishi says, if we don't hear Krishna Katha, our ear is like a snake hole. So we should not allow our hole here, which is there, which God has given us, Krishna has given us on both the sides. It should not be like a snake hole. Can a snake hole here? We should not be like that. So we should use every single opportunity to hear about Lord Krishna. So as a concluding part, the method by which transcendental message is received is the method of submissive hearing. Submissiveness, humility. Humility is the first road towards success in Krishna consciousness. More and more we are humble, we become like the white umbrella. We become like a green umbrella. We become like a blue umbrella. Krishna starts recognizing. Because our constitutional position is actually to serve the super personality of Godhead. And the next aspect is we have to be very anxious to hear Krishna Katha. If today I have not Krishna Katha, I should not go to sleep. Today somehow, at least for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I have to hear something about Krishna. If we keep that resolution, what happens? Our life is going to be very, very happy and peaceful. Then desire to hear with interest is the primary qualification for assimilating the transcendental knowledge. So first aspect is we have to be anxious. Second aspect is we need to have the sincere desire. These are the two things. Then we need not really go through the struggle of reading the Vedas. So we have Srimad Bhagavatam, we have Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and we have Chaitanya Charitamrita. So if in this life, if we are able to read this at least once, I think that is going to be the point from where we are actually take the next leap of going to Goloka Vrindavan, which doesn't require any visa, ticket or money. Right? Doesn't require anything. Automatically we are transported. So the sages of Naimisharanya told Sukadeva Goswami that they were intensely desirous of understanding Srimad Bhagavatam. They were hearing from Suta Goswami about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they were never satiated by these discussions. They never became tired. They said, oh, we already know about it. No. More and more, if you see, many references keep coming again and again in Srimad Bhagavatam, right? They said, no, we have heard this katha before, right? No. They want to keep hearing again and again. So thank you very much for your patient hearing, and thank you very much for the opportunity that you have given this beautiful Dham of Avantikapuri, the beautiful temple of Iskcon Ujjain, in front of Shri Radha Madan Mohanji, Narasimha Bhagwan, Gaurnita Ji, Krishna Balaram, Srila Prabhupada, and the beautiful devotees. So thank you very much once again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Thai Gaura Premanande, Hare Hare Bol. Any questions, any realizations, any thoughts? I must thank Shyamalla Prabhu for giving me this real good opportunity. So yesterday whole day, and Krishna Prabhuji also. Haribol. So, whole day, whole night I was only in this Smaran. Otherwise I would have taken rest in this beautiful Dham. So on my birthday, I feel that this with all your blessings will be a good beginning for me to be more sincere in practicing Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Haribol. Can please add something? Kirtans Prabhuji, Abhay Charan Prabhuji, and all the other Vaishnavas who are here. Hare Krishna. Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.